Maybe you read the description and figured out that I'm going live from a different place today. I'm outside, and that's because my Wi-Fi has basically been down for almost a week. It has been very intermittent and unreliable. And right now I am out on the canal where I go often to feed the ducks, and this is kind of my quiet place and just a place to feel peaceful and relax. So I thought I'd bring you out here with me today. And I am literally like 100 yards maybe from a cell phone tower. So I should have really good reception here. I see that someone is here. If you can say in the chat that you can hear me, that would be awesome. If I know how to read the chat, hopefully it shows up as expected. So what we're talking about today is exactly what I am going through. And that is, I contemplated, hey Miss M, thanks for throwing something in the chat. Hey Rob, thank you. All right, perfect. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. So let's see if I can get some ducks coming up our way. But I seriously contemplated putting this off because of my Wi-Fi, and it would have been super easy to say, you know what, I'll just say I'm not showing up live today. But I decided that this is a good experiment to experiment with what happens when we experiment in our life, right? So many times we want something to be sure, that we want to know that it's not going to fail. We want to know that we're not going to be judged. We want to know that it's going to turn out okay and that there aren't going to be any missteps. And we don't learn when we continually stay in that comfort zone. So I decided, hey, let's do a live out on the canal using my phone. Never done this before. I did a little research and studying and reaching out to Rob the Maritimer, who is one of my mentors, asking him for, all of the advice and the suggestions after watching a course video that he had created on going live that I am in. So I just decided to go for it and let's try it and see what happens. So I brought out my corn, which the ducks love, but also the pigeons. I don't know if you can see, where is that pigeon? There it is. But hopefully the ducks aren't so full that they won't come up and eat. I know that it's time, they're in laying egg mode and hatching babies mode. So sometimes the mamas kind of hide out during this time, but let's see who we can get to come join us up here. There are a lot of them that will eat out of my hands. So we'll see. Sometimes if I shake the bag of corn, I don't know if they can hear that or not. Oh yeah, I see them coming now. They're like, oh, wake up. All right, so let's talk about experimenting, getting curious instead of getting into self-doubt and getting then critical of ourselves, saying, oh, it'll never work. What happens when we stay in that mode? It, again, just keeps us in our comfort zone, and we never can learn. We never can expand when we're always just following and doing what we've always done, what's comfortable for us to do. And I'm curious to know, do you struggle with this? Is it hard for you to try new things? I'd love for you to put in the comments if that's the case for you. So when we start experimenting, here's what happens. They're right there. When we start experimenting, it takes the pressure off of getting it right. And I've said before that experiment like a scientist, right? They don't know. Miss M said I struggle with trying new things. Hey, Line. Do you struggle with trying new things? So what happens when we do experiment? And I'm getting interrupted by my thoughts here. Not by my thoughts. I'm getting interrupted by the ducks and just this newness, right? It's new for me to be outside and to be experimenting with this. So what happens when we can be like a scientist? If you think about a scientist, when they try something new, when they're experimenting, they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know the outcome, right? They have a hypothesis about what's going to happen or what they hope will happen, what maybe they think they'll prove right or wrong, but they have no idea, and that's why they experiment. I mean, thank God we have scientists in the world, right? So that we can discover new things. I mean, we just went to up and around the moon. Without scientists and without experimenting, that would have never happened. So when we start experimenting, it starts to take the pressure off of trying to get something right. And I think that's what happens with us is, again, we want to, the pigeons don't like when they get corn thrown at them. What was I saying? I'm like you, Rob. I can lose my train of thought and then it's like, squirrel, right? Duck. It takes, when we start experimenting, it takes the pressure off of getting it right. And we start to realize that there is no right, but we have lived, especially women who were taught, I feel your pain, happens to me all the time. I know, luckily I know that it happens to you and that, you know, it's just part of life, right? And that's one thing I'm going to talk about is how I have struggled with perfectionism for so long. And now for some reason I'm getting emotional. You know, this is one way to start beating that, because when we stay in perfectionism, we don't try new things, because my mind anyway, as a perfectionist, that perfectionistic brain, it's the ego saying, do not try something new. You don't know what you're doing. You may fail. You may look like a fool. You might lose your train of thought. People will judge you. They'll think that you don't know what you're talking about, right? And so we let that perfection brain, that ego, that part of us, shut us down and not try new things. And therefore we never get to the point of where we know, hey, I'm doing it now. I'm actually doing it. And even though there's a leaf blower or something that started up the minute I sat down over here, I'm like, screw it. You know what? It is what it is. And hopefully you can hear me well enough over that. Maybe my microphone is blocking out a little bit of that noise. But Line said, oh shoot, I don't know how to keep the comments up on the page. Line said something, but I don't know how to get back to it again. Maybe here. Oh, I can see who's here, but I can't see what you said. Okay, so by experimenting, right, we start to dissolve that perfectionistic need to be secure and to be safe and to be certain of what the outcome is going to be. So when we can experiment, so I have all the pigeons here, but the ducks are not joining me. When we can experiment, it starts to dissolve that perfectionism, and we start to get the joy and the pride and the assurance, the evidence that we are capable of doing hard things, and that the sky's not going to fall, I'm not going to die, right? The life is going to go on. And when it all comes down to it, I'm more concerned about what you think of me than what you are. You're not thinking about, oh my gosh, you know, you're not judging me, right? That's me thinking you're judging me. And again, that's the ego who just, the ego is made up, right? The ego is just made up, and it wants to be right. And so, because if it's not right, it knows that it will die. And so it continually shows up wanting to be right. Okay, Lena said, I actually did a sit and talk video today. That was new, and I did it, and it turned out great, but I was afraid to do it. See, it faded out before I got to read the whole thing. But that's awesome, Lena. That's awesome. I look forward to seeing that. So again, coming out and doing the thing, making mistakes, just doing it, right? We're not going to live life without making mistakes. So show up, make the mistakes, and that will start to diminish and beat that perfectionism. And when you think about it, when it's an experiment, again, the scientists don't know. I'm really struggling. It's hard to let me do anything right now, Miss M. So yeah, hang in there. Keep listening, right? You have to just start experimenting with the smallest things, whatever it is. What's your brain telling you that is not going to work? And just remember that most likely that's your little girl telling you, because when she was little, she needed to be safe, right? She needed to perform and to do certain things, to people please, maybe, to not speak up, to not, not experiment, because that could get her thrown out of the tribe. And our DNA is not very far removed from how we were when we were in caveman, cavewoman days. It was imperative that you were part of a tribe, because otherwise, if you got thrown out of the tribe, you wouldn't have fire, you wouldn't have food, you wouldn't have warmth, you wouldn't have safety. And so you literally could die. And our reptile brain, that part of our brain, still reacts in that way. So Miss M, if you can give your little girl compassion and give her the assurance that now as an adult, that you will have her back and that there's nothing to be afraid of. There's no tiger chasing you. There's nobody behind you. Right? There's really nothing to fear. I'm putting out a video. I wanted to get it in there today in the membership before I came live, but again, life happens, right? As soon as I get back home, I'm putting a video in the membership. It's the first video, and it maybe is the most important video in that membership. And there's only one, or besides the audio, the meditation audio that's in there currently, but it may be the most important video that I create for that membership. But I talk a little bit about fear and how fear is just stands for false evidence appearing real. So your brain, your subconscious, doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. And so if you're sitting in a space of, I'm scared to do it, it's too hard, whatever, your body and your brain react according to what you tell them is most important to you. And by you not doing the thing, even though it feels hard, even though it feels scary, by you not doing the thing, you're proving to your brain that you believe you can't do hard things. So you have to, we all have to, if we want to break free of that comfort zone and start living the most fulfilling life that we can possibly live, then we have to take those small steps, along with telling ourselves, I am safe, I have my own back, no one is judging me as much as I'm judging me. There is nobody that's judging me more harshly than I do myself. So getting rid of that critical brain and just allowing yourself to do the thing, just like I told myself, okay, my Wi-Fi's not working, I'm just going to go out to the canal, feed the ducks, and hope like hell that it works. But if it doesn't, then I know what to shift for next time, right? And so far, it's turned out okay, right? I have a few people here live with me, and then there will be people that watch the replay. So it's amazing. You start to build evidence for what you can do versus continuing to add to the evidence of what you feel like you can't do. So back to I have a little list here of a couple of points, 3 points, 4 points that I wanted to go over with you. So again, by just doing the thing, saying, I'm just going to experiment, I'm going to take one small step, I'm going to be like a scientist, I'm going to put on my scientist cap and put on my glasses and experiment, get out my microscope and experiment with what could happen, what could possibly go right, instead of asking ourselves, oh, sheesh, what could go wrong here, right? And then your brain and your body, your ego is just going to give you a list of things that could go wrong. But what if we started asking, what could go right? Isn't that a cool palm tree back there? What could go right? What could go right? And sit with what could go right. I told myself this morning when I decided to do this, I'm like, maybe I'll like this better. Maybe this will be more fun for me. Maybe it will be more fun for you watching, right? Although the darn ducks, it's probably, I'm midday today, so this is like one of the hottest parts of the day, and so they're resting a little bit and they're not as active as they are in the morning or late afternoon. So by experimenting and taking little small steps, right? Little steps in that direction, it starts to take the pressure off of getting everything right. We're so concerned with, being right. That's the ego. The ego has to be right. So when you call it an experiment, then there's no failing, because an experiment is just trying something out. They didn't know that Artemis would make it back from the moon, right? It truly, and you say, geez, why would we experiment with something so, life-altering, right? Truly life-changing could be from a negative perspective, right? People could have died. Why would we experiment with that? Because if we don't, we will never know. And they put everything possible that they could in place to make sure that it didn't fail, right? But there were things that didn't turn out the way that they planned. And so now, right, they're on an Artemis mission to correct those things, to change those things, to make those things better. So again, when you call it an experiment, there is no failing. You're just collecting data. Those scientists, those people that worked and work at NASA, they are just collecting data now before it went up and now after it came back for the next mission. And then we collect that data and we adjust accordingly. Maybe you speaking up backfired, right? But now you know you're collecting data on that person. Why did they react so strongly to you speaking up? Is that them telling you who they really are? Or could have you maybe said it in a different way? Did you blow up and explode? Or did you, such a great way to look at it. Thanks, Line. Or, did you say it with kindness and they gave you pushback, right? So there's all sorts of ways that we can experiment. When we experiment like this, we learn what we actually want. We have lived, especially again as women, we have lived by so many rules, right? When we were young, be a good girl, don't speak up, don't talk back, don't get angry. All these things that told us who we were supposed to be and what the rules and the parameters were. And then we brought those rules into our adult life. And we end up spending all these years tending to everyone else's needs, and we don't even know really what we want or need anymore, or what's okay or not okay. And so we lose that thread, that pathway back to ourself. And by starting to experiment, you actually start gaining that pathway, that journey back to what you want, who you want to be, what do you want your life to look like. So experiments help you find that out. I have not drank alcohol since the end of December. I don't remember the date. I don't know that I had any on New Year's Eve. But I haven't drank alcohol. And it's partly an experiment. There was nothing wrong. I hadn't been drinking that much alcohol. Like I said in another video, I used to work in the wine world for 11 years. I drank way too much and put myself in danger and other people in danger. It impacted my health. It impacted my relationships. So, but I haven't been in that way for a few years. But I decided kind of, not really, it wasn't like, okay, this is a resolution. It wasn't that at all, because I don't believe in resolutions. Again, that new video that's going into the membership is talking about why, I touch on why resolutions do not work. They do not work. They've proven that they do not work. And so, but I haven't drank alcohol this whole year. And the thought came up to me because I'm having my mom with me this weekend, and she has a little glass of wine every day. It's an inexpensive wine, but it's actually a really good wine. And I thought about it yesterday, like, okay, she's going to be drinking. We love to sit out on my balcony, watch the ducks on the canal. And I thought, typically I will have a little bit of wine with her. And I thought, do I want to do that? Or do I like how I feel not having wine, right? So again, it's just an experiment. It's nothing that I'm saying I'm never drinking again. It's just an experiment to see, how do I feel? How does it impact me feeling in my body? How does it impact my weight? How does it impact my hormones, right? So it's just an experiment. Try the thing, see how it feels for you, not what they think about it, what the other person thinks. How did your mom react to you not drinking? She doesn't care really either way. She doesn't feel left out because she lives alone and she's 95. She has her glass of wine every night, and it's not for the buzz at all. She never drank when I was growing up. There was never alcohol in the home. Unfortunately, my oldest brother became an alcoholic. And so for me, that's part of it too, is I've seen I missed it, darn it. I'll have to find out from Rob how I keep the chat up so that I can see the messages. They just are fading out on me in just a few seconds. So part of it for me is I've seen what it has done to his life, how much it's devastated his life. And so I think that's part of it. My mom does not want to drink alone. Ah, interesting. I actually did a sit and talk. Oh, somehow now I got up. I found the chats. My mom doesn't want to drink alone. Yeah, my mom, that's not a thing. She, has, now my screen is going dark. Can you still see me? That's not an issue for her. She does it partially because she's heard that there are health benefits to drinking a little bit of wine every day. So red wine, it's dry, so it's not a sugar thing. Okay, yes, we see you. Thank you. So anyway, experiment. See how it feels for you. So Line, if your mom doesn't want to drink alone, don't drink with her. See how it feels for you. Don't let the pressure of her not wanting to drink alone keep you from doing what you want to do in your life for you, for your health, for your well-being, right? It's not about her, it's about you. Another thing about experimenting is, I'm wondering if my phone is getting warm because it's maybe in the sun a little bit. I know Rob's phone overheated on him once when he was doing a live or a video. I think it was a video. But when we experiment with things, this starts to build self-trust in ourselves. It builds self-trust through evidence, and I maybe already touched on this. You stop looking for permission from other people. So Line, I would say to you, right? Like, are you looking for permission from your mom that, she still loves you, she still approves of you? What is it? What is it that's keeping you from just saying, I'm not having a drink? I needed this because my depression and anxiety isn't being kind to me. I really wanted to give up the other day. Oh, Miss M, a small shift that you can make, Miss M, is to stop labeling it as my depression. When we say mine, my anxiety, my depression, my whatever, my car, my phone, right? My phone, my live, we are taking ownership of it. So be careful with your words on how you're taking ownership of it. You can rephrase it as a feeling, and I'm not diminishing it at all. I'm not diminishing. I appreciate you sharing. But if we can start rephrasing, because these are just thoughts, right? They're just thoughts. They're not who you are. So if you can start saying, wow, I feel really down today, right? The feeling is very different than claiming ownership of something, right? The feeling will pass. Over time, it may take, a day or two, it may take an hour. But when we start letting it go, like not claiming it as mine, it will start to go. It will start to release. So experiment with that, right? Saying, wow, I feel really down today. I totally understand what you're saying. Cool. Just say, acknowledge it, right? Acknowledge that little girl. It's probably the little girl that for some reason is feeling low. So I get it. You're feeling low. I hear you. What can we do to not avoid it, but to reverse engineer it? What do you need right now to feel 1% better, right? Rate it. This is what I tell clients a lot of times. If you're feeling really anxious or low, rate it from 0 to 10, 10 being the worst that it could feel. And if it's an 8, then ask yourself, ask that little girl, what can we do in this moment right now to take it to a 7 or a 7.5, just a partial bit lower, and then go do that thing, whatever that is. Maybe that's going for a walk out on the canal, right? Feeding the ducks. Maybe it's reading a book. Maybe it's taking a bath. Maybe it's calling a friend. I want to be the good girl and let my mom have the wine without having to deal with having the wine alone. Oh, it faded out again. Yeah, good girl is a rule that, is it's a deep groove. It's a deep groove in our brain. And so, like, how could you have a conversation with your mom about it, telling her how you feel and telling her that, you enjoy having it with her, but you understand that if this is the case, that, wine, it's not serving you, right? So, or make mocktail, I found, it's at a 9. I just want someone to listen and ask me how I am. Well, I appreciate you being here, Miss M, and I hear you. I see you. I understand. So that's that little girl saying, I just want someone to listen. Can you listen to her? Right? You listen to her. Sometimes, most of the time, maybe all the time, as adults, we have to reparent ourselves, right? That's something you didn't get, most likely, when you were young. You weren't listened to, you weren't seen, you weren't held. And that's, oh, I just got goosebumps. That's what most of us want, right? That's all we want. But we have to reparent ourselves. Unless there's a friend that you can call, not unless, we have to reparent ourselves, right? You have to listen to you. You have to hear you. You have to see you. You have to hold that little girl like you wish you were held. And along with that, if there's someone in your life, a friend that you can call and just say, I just need to be heard. I just need 5 minutes of your time. Can you just listen to me? I guess I'm grieving over a friendship that has ended. Okay, that's understandable. That's completely understandable that you would feel sad and down. Again, what is one thing that you can do in this moment? Only you can do it, and only you know what that thing is. And then find the thing and go do it. Again, maybe it's journaling, maybe it's coming here to this live, maybe this makes you feel better. And I do see you, I understand. And you are not alone. All right? So you are loved. I appreciate you being here. Okay? And you've brought that up in other lives before, that you feel guilty. Guilt is just the ego. Remember that. I had a friend who told me, she used to tell me, and it drove me absolutely crazy. She would say, guilt does not serve you. Let it go. Now I get it. It is just the ego trying to make you feel bad about yourself, because that's what keeps you small and diminished and in your comfort zone. So that is not who you are here to be. That's not who you were born to be. You were born 100% worthy, and nothing you can do, including ending that friendship, takes away that worthiness. And the problem is that we have just forgotten who we truly are at our core. So start loving on yourself, journaling about your amazing characteristics, the things that you love about yourself. Change the focus to what is amazing about you, because I know there are amazing things. And you are able, completely 100% able to change where you focus. And our brain cannot think two thoughts at the same time. So think a different thought, right? You do that enough times and those old thoughts start to dissolve and the new thoughts start to take over. So who is it that you are in the world? How do you want to show up? Who do you want to be? Start focusing on those things versus the guilt. And because again, the guilt is not serving you. And I know as much as that made me mad, it was absolutely the truth. And this guy agrees. So again, doing things, experimenting with things builds evidence. And through that evidence, you start to build self-trust. Miss M, I would say that your trust in yourself probably is pretty low. And so it's your job to rebuild that. And it's maybe low because of how you were treated in childhood, experiences that you had. I'm so happy you're here every week. I see you too, and I read everything you write, so I hear you too. I'm really happy you're here in Heidi's live. Thank you for supporting a fellow viewer. So we have to stop looking for permission. And again, like Line, I would ask you, where are you looking for permission to not drink with your mom, right? When we look for permission outside of us, we're giving our power away to the other person. They have all the power because we're waiting for what they say is the right thing to do, the right way to be. And that's no way to live our life. We're not going to live our life fully when we're living it based on getting permission or approval from someone else. So even every little experiment, even if it's a flop, right? Even if it doesn't work out the way that you anticipated it to, it shows you, it gives you the evidence. I tried, I survived, I didn't die. I can do it again. I can shift a little bit and I can do it again and see what happens next time. Again, it makes mistakes, right? Outcomes that we weren't expecting or that we didn't like. It makes those feel like not such a big deal. And it starts to diminish that needing to be perfect, needing to be approved of, needing to be validated for what we're doing. Yes, Miss M, we can do hard things. You can do hard things. And that's part of it, right? Coming out here, getting on my phone, I'm on it a lot of times when I'm out here anyway, is not really very hard, right? But I was telling myself, oh my gosh, this is so hard, I'm so scared. Also keep in mind, when you feel nervous about something, the feeling of nervous and excited are the same. In the body, there is no difference between feeling nervous and excited. So many times when we're nervous, like I told myself I was to come out here and do this, I was actually kind of excited when truth be told, because I'm like, wow, this opens up a whole new opportunity for me. I mean, I have this whole huge canal, right? I'm standing right here right now because it's shady. And unfortunately, last year we had a storm and it knocked down 4 or 5 of these 100-plus-year-old eucalyptus trees. I mean, you can see how tall they are, right? They are hugely, hugely tall. So, but it's just kind of a cool, I mean, look at this trunk. It's amazing how huge it is. It's just, and this is just a small part of this trunk. But look at like this trunk of this eucalyptus. When I stand up against it, look how big it is. It's huge. So look at that tree. Isn't that amazing? And they planted these trees here because 100 plus years ago, before Phoenix was built up like it is now, the farmers would come here because there was water. This is what helped them with their crops, right? And there were cottonwood trees here prior to these eucalyptus trees being here. And the cottonwood trees take a lot of water and they're not very resilient. Eucalyptus trees take very little water and they're super, super resilient. I mean, obviously they've been here for over 100 years. And there's just this, there's the line of them there, and then this way toward the road, there's a bunch more, but there were 3 or 4 or 5 that came down in a storm last year. But they planted with these eucalyptus trees and took out the cottonwood trees to give the farmers, you know, a better experience. And again, they experimented, right? They didn't know probably for sure that the eucalyptus were going to be a better option and that they would last for 100 plus years. So I have no idea what took me to that. Yeah, I have no idea what took me there. But so again, it makes mistakes when we experiment. It makes them not feel like such a big deal. And we make a mistake, we move on. But oh, I know, that's why I was saying that, because I love it out here. I would have never known, right? I would have just stayed in my comfort zone, stayed on my computer doing my lives, stayed in my little office, and not brought you out here with me. There's some ducks right there, but again, they're sleeping. I'll have to come out a different time of day and do another live. So another thing about experimenting is it keeps you in problem-solving mode. I'm glad you do, Line. I know you love the outdoors, so yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's a beautiful day today. It's not as warm as what it has been. So experimenting like this keeps us in problem-solving mode, right? How can I solve this problem? When we get in the fight or flight and we don't experiment, Miss M says she loves seeing the ducks. I wish I could get more of them up here for you. Come here. Instead of the pigeons, we'll see if we can. Here you go. So when we are afraid that we're going to make a mistake and we stay in fear, that shuts down the executive center in the brain, and that is where problem solving comes from. So if we stay in that place of, I'm scared, what's going to happen, what are they going to think, you know, what could go wrong, asking ourselves all those questions, letting the ego and the fear take over, come on, you duckies. We lose our problem solving capability and the executive center of the brain, because the executive center of the brain shuts down. The corn is very dusty, so I end up with white on my face. And okay, the pigeons are going to come, but not the ducks. So again, scientists don't beat themselves up when a test fails. My mom was always a problem solver, and I love that about her. Cool, then, you know, like, go to her and ask her, you know, what like how you could become how you could open up that part of you a little bit more, like how she learned to be that way, right? But when mistakes happen, the scientists don't beat themselves up, right? When a test fails, they say, oh, that's interesting. I didn't think that was going to happen. Now what? Right? And they start thinking of ways that they could do it differently next time. There's some ducks getting more active. Oh, flying away. And then the last thing is, when we think about experimenting, and that guy almost thwarted my plan because he was parked back there when I first came out here, and I was like, oh man, he's putting a wrench in my, whatever that saying is. So the last thing, experimenting gives us permission to start before we're ready. I talked about this at the beginning, a lot of times we wait because we want that certainty that it's going to all work out, right? Spoiler alert, that rarely comes, right? You could spend days and days. If I'd probably thought of this sooner, I probably would have spent days like figuring out, okay, what's the exact, what do I need to do? How do I need to do this? And just looking at it, more and more and deeper and deeper. And instead I think this morning is when I decided, oh, I'm going to have to go out to the canal and do it from my phone. And so I didn't give myself much time. Experiments don't need readiness. They just need that first step. So what's the first step that you could do to start experimenting with whatever that thing is that you feel stuck on in your life? You don't have to know the whole path. This hand is getting a cramp from holding my tripod. You don't have to know the whole path, right? Just take one step, right? Take one step and then look around like, okay, how does this feel? What does this feel like? Am I scared? Am I nervous? Or am I actually excited about it? Right? So when we start questioning, and experimenting requires us to question, right? A scientist doesn't just say, okay, here's the experiment and here's the hypothesis. Now let's take the steps, right? No, they have to ask a lot of questions. What would happen if we did this instead of that? What would happen if we torqued that tighter? Or Lene, you know about experimenting with your liner for your cab, right? Like you had to figure out, okay, if I put a zipper here or I do this there, how is that going to work, right? So we have to ask questions. So just start being curious and asking questions, and then letting the questions lead you to the next step. Curiosity creates kind of a pause, like, what would happen if I did this differently? What would happen if I came out to the canal and tried it? It might not work, right? My cell phone might die, my cell phone might overheat, but I will never know unless I try. And now I'm here, and I just love these eucalyptus. They're so amazing. I want to cut a bunch of them up, but they're just so amazing to me. And it smells so good right here. And unfortunately, people have, thrown junk here and started using it as a waste place. Hopefully the city will get it cleaned up, but I just love the look of these eucalyptus trunks. And again, when I come out here for a walk or to feed the ducks, I usually don't necessarily hang out right here. Can I turn my screen around? Oh, look at that, I just discovered. So there are some ducks that were hiding from us. Oh my gosh, see? I just experimented and I didn't lose you. I actually figured out that I could turn my screen around during a live. That is amazing. Amazing, amazing. Okay, so the last thing I want to say about experimenting is this helps you start breaking that pattern. Oh, I had to read back. Can you take some of the eucalyptus when you back home? It must really, I mean, there really aren't any. I did take one day I took like a small, a small branch like this. I took it home, kind of like as my walking stick. But when this first happened, I came out here to video it because I could hear them go down from my house. It was so loud. And they went across the canal there and just missed those people's houses. And three of these amazing, oh, I guess I'll do it this way now that I know how to do that. 3 of these amazing trunks, I mean the whole tree together at once, they all 3 fell across the canal together, and like I said, broke through the fence that's over there. So I mean they are so tall, they're just so massive. But I came out here to film the morning after it happened, and I got yelled at. He didn't see me at first though, so I did get really up close and was able to film. And then I got yelled at to move back away because there still could be limbs coming down from the remaining trees that were still standing. Things had broken away and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, too bad. I already got film of it, so. Oh, now look, a duck is coming, of course. So the last thing that I wanted to say, because I don't think I said it yet, is when we start experimenting, it breaks years. You are welcome, Miss M. Thank you for being here, for showing up for yourself. You showed up for yourself. And again, we see you, we love you, we hear you, you are held and heard. I just want you to know that. When we start experimenting, we break free from years of following all the rules and all the auto-yesing and all the over-giving and all the trying to get validation from other people. That's what experimenting allows us to do. And it ends up opening doors to being able to develop new patterns that serve us in our life instead of self-sabotage, sabotage us in our lives. So I encourage you to experiment, be like a scientist, see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. The only way you'll know is to experiment. And now I will just turn it over and let you see a little of the birds. Have a great day, everyone. Pigeons, that's not what I want. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for this. I got so much out of it. I'm so glad, Lene. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you being here. I see some ducks down here. I should go further down because I can see 3 baby ducks down there with their mama. I don't think I can, oh, I can zoom in. Oh my gosh, see all the stuff I'm learning by experimenting? I don't think you'll be able to see them. Right, where's my camera? Right there. Whoop, sorry. Have a great day, you too, Em. Have a great week. I'll see everyone next Wednesday at 2:22 p.m. Eastern Time. And maybe I will just come out to the canal again. See you next week, Line. Bye. Bye, everyone.